Hey everybody. Good morning from Hawaii. So I've been facilitating transformation with people for 23 years. I started in 2000 as a yoga teacher in Boston, Massachusetts. And the journey has been really surprising, really unusual, and certainly not what I expected. No, I became a yoga teacher because I was young, I was in my 20s, I was doing yoga, I was loving yoga. I didn't like my day job. I liked doing yoga. So I thought, why not teach yoga? And in the very beginning, my practice was simply very asana based, simply very, very, very body based. But I was having a hard time inside of myself at the time. This was the early 2000s. And I was absolutely in my own journey with body-based health issues as well as really, really deep PTSD. And then one day, a couple years into this, it was literally like an intuition to study with Anna Forrest. I had taken a workshop with her in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 2001. Hated it, didn't like her, didn't like how this lady was telling me to get into my body and feel other things. Not a fan. But it was years later, it was about 2007, and this really, really deep intuition came up in me and said, go back to studying Forest Yoga. If you're wondering, that is Forest with 2 R's. So at the time, this was 2007, I bought the Forest Yoga box set, CDs. It was CDs at the time. And then I took one of her teacher trainings. And the teacher training helped me in my own process, yes. Hello, say hi if you're joining live. Introduce yourself if you want. The teacher training helped me in my own process, yes. But it informed my work and my method with clients on a level that I wouldn't see till many years later. Because when you guys think about yoga, you think, oh, we're going to do a pose, and then we're going to hold the pose, and then maybe we're going to breathe. No, the difference with Forest Yoga and with Anna's teachings was that was not the end of the yoga practice, that was the beginning. So in these Forest Yoga practices and her teacher trainings, this was 2007, 2008, we being the class, would get into the poses. We'd be in the pose, we'd be breathing, and then she'd start giving us these cues like, now track the emotions in your body. Start to notice what your emotions are under this breath. And for 27-year-old, 28-year-old me, that was a total plot twist and a total shocker. And what happened, of course, over the course of her trainings and the course of other workshops with her was I started to tap into my own repressed anger, my own repressed grief, my own repressed rage. And during the trainings themselves, I began to release them from my body. Now, what I got taught the most, what I got the most from this was to run right into the places that I didn't want to go in myself. And, to give you context, this was me in my 20s. I had barely worked through any of my stuff. I had started, to be clear, but barely. And the teaching was, oh, there's resistance, there's tightness, there's holding, go into it, don't run away. Get curious about this muscular resistance. Get curious about this emotional resistance. Get curious about this emotional holding. run into it, don't walk away. And then every time I ran into that muscular resistance, every time I then dove deeper with my breath into the emotional resistance that was underneath, there would be some sort of emotional release first, sometimes some sort of physical release. And then usually, but not always, a gigantic, gigantic, gigantic breakthrough about my whole life. And I'm sharing this not really to talk about me more, but I'm sharing this to talk about an early mentor who informed my work with clients on a very profound level, on a very deep level, on a very real level. Not necessarily more than other teachers. I wouldn't say that she's informed it more. I would say that that was very close to the beginning of informing what my method and my process would be. It was just very early chronologically. And at the time, running right into the big emotions, running right into the resistance, running right into all the things I didn't want to look at, didn't want to feel, didn't want to know, didn't want to face, was totally fucking revolutionary. And now, many years later, it's absolutely a tremendous amount of what I do with you, what I do with my clients inside of my containers. And if you've looked at my website lately, if you've looked at my Instagram, less so here on Facebook, you'll notice that, again, I'm going back towards talking about business coaching a lot. So there might be a question coming up about, well, how does going into this, impact my business, impact my leadership, impact my money, impact my authority? And I don't have a script for this. On a certain level, it's all the same. Who you are in business, who you are as a leader, who you are when you make an impact in the world is profoundly influenced by your sense of identity, by your sense of who you be. And if you're blocked and tight and stuffed up and repressed with unfelt emotions or with other types of deep-seated emotional resistances, there isn't enough space for that identity, that true identity, not the one your mother told you to be, that true identity. There's frequently then not enough space for that true identity, that higher self really, to shine. So yeah, the surprise piece of wisdom from all of this is run right into everything that you avoid. You're avoiding that emotion, run into it. You're avoiding that heightened sensation, you run into it. You're avoiding paying your taxes, run into it. And for some of you, you're avoiding pleasure, delight, play, sex, orgasms, giving yourself more, run into that. The surprise piece of wisdom into this is to run it right into everything that you avoid. I'm going to pause and see if there's questions. I see people here live. Mostly I wanted to jump on live and offer that and share this really deep influence in my work and share this deep influence in my own process with myself and my people. And before I hop off, I'll give you a little out the window shot of Hawaii. Okay, my inbox is open if you have questions. Lots and lots and lots of love.